Live stream. Welcome to my live stream again, my friends. I'm so glad that you joined me. My name is Christopher Elliott. I am in Christchurch, New Zealand, far away from wherever you probably are. But since this is a live stream, here's how it works. If you're watching this live, you can leave a comment on any of the platforms that I'm streaming on right now, and you can let me know where you are in the world. I would love to hear where you are, what you're up to. We are talking today about the value of points. Is it worth collecting frequent flyer, frequent stayer points? I have a couple of stories that I can't wait to share with you. We also have some breaking news. This is what happens. You plan your live stream and then something breaks and you have to go and fix it. I guess that's what you do when you're a consumer advocate. You fix things. So today we have some breaking news that I'm going to talk about as well. But like I said before, if you are watching this and there's a little icon above your screen that says live, it means that I am here right now talking into this camera live. It's a live stream. So we are on YouTube, on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're even on Twitch for all the young people out there. So you can, and YouTube, don't forget YouTube, that's probably the most important one. So we're streaming everywhere. It's called a multi-stream. So if you are watching this and it's live, leave a comment and let me know where you are, first of all. And second of all, is it worth it to you to collect frequent flyer, frequent stayer points? And I'd love to get your comments on this because we do have some interesting stories. Before we get to that, though, we have had some breaking news that happened just this morning on the East Coast, and that is that the Department of Transportation made a huge announcement that affects airline passengers or will affect airline passengers in the future. Let me skip over to that. By the way, you can leave a comment right now. I am watching the bar here to see, and I'll answer those. But let's see if I can go over here, and we have this press release that went out just this morning that said DOT to propose requirements for airlines to cover expenses and compensate stranded passengers. You know, when I saw that, I immediately thought of EU 261. That's the law that passed back in 2004 that protects European passengers. Most people don't even know that there is one, but there is a law. It's actually a regulation technically that protects passengers when an airline, for reasons under its own control, can't operate a flight. And it requires that airlines pay cash compensation, also takes care of things like meals and hotel rooms. The US wants something like that. Who might have given them this idea? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I've written a couple of stories about EU 261 saying that it might not be a terrible idea to have a version of EU 261, also called EC 261 here in the United States. So anyway, let me go through this very briefly here. DOT basically saying that first of all, it started a new site called flyrights.gov that gives you more information about your rights. Great idea, something that should have been done 20 years ago or 30 years ago even. And then, so they basically are going to start a rulemaking. That means that the DOT doesn't have the authority to just tell the airlines to do it. It has to do a rulemaking. So it's going to go through the whole rulemaking process. So there'll be feedback, and then it will finalize the rule, and then it will go into effect. When will that happen? Probably not for another 2 years, maybe more. So it may not. It may actually outlast this administration if the administration only lasts another 2 years and then would get kicked to the next administration. So we shall see what happens. But basically, it's going to be offering compensation for passengers when there's a controllable airline cancellation or significant delay. Definitely an EC 261 thing. Offering a meal or a meal voucher, overnight accommodations, ground transportation, transportation to and from the hotel, and rebooking for controllable delays or cancellations. And then also timely customer service during and after periods of widespread flight irregularities, and also definition of controllable cancellation or delay. So they're going to tighten some of the definitions that we've as you know, if you're an airline passenger, you have seen airlines kind of fudge some of the definitions and say, well, this is a circumstance beyond our control. Well, how do you really define a circumstance beyond your control? I mean, is it a mechanical delay? Was it was the manufacturer to blame and not you? I mean, I've seen all kinds of crazy excuses. So needless to say, my phone started ringing at about, I want to say 1 in the morning with reporters trying to call me. Fortunately, being in New Zealand, I had my phone on silent and I was able to sleep, but I saw all the calls in the morning when I came in. And this is definitely this is big news for the summer because it provides basically a morale boost to air travelers who are tired of being mishandled by the airlines, and it gives them some hope, I think, that maybe something is going to happen at some point, that their rights will be protected. Now, I did invite some people onto the live stream who might know a thing or two about a little bit more about what's going on with DOT. Unfortunately, I didn't give them enough time. I haven't heard back from the app. We'll just have to see what happens. Have a couple comments here. Love it. Okay, we've got someone coming in from St. Louis, Missouri. Nice to see you. And Philadelphia. What's up with Vantage? Okay, wow, we got some, and someone else wants to know what's going on with Vantage. Gosh, I wish I had an update on Vantage. Every day I feel it's just an exercise in futility. I knock on the door and I say, do you have an update for me? And every day I get silence back from Vantage. All I know is what we went over this yesterday, and just to give you kind of an overview of what's been going on, Vantage Travel, about 2 weeks ago, their site went down. They stopped answering their phones. People thought they were going to be going bankrupt, and Vantage actually owed a lot of people money for previous cruises that did not operate as scheduled. So they owe some people some money, and it ends up that Vantage had what it termed a ransomware problem, and that's what led to the site being shut down and not answering the phones. But there are still some unexplained things. Notably, there have been trips that have been canceled. There are people who are afraid that their trips will be canceled. I did hear late yesterday from someone who said that they had tracked their ship and that it was nowhere near where it needed to be in order for the cruise to operate on time. So there's a lot of rampant speculation about more cruises that will be canceled. I will be here and I will try to help as best I can on the Vantage situation. But as far as I know right now, there's really nothing new to report on Vantage, unfortunately. Christine, hey, Christine, good to see you. You're coming in from Baltimore. And we've got Jancy from Greensboro on LinkedIn. Jancy, glad you joined me. Christine notes that I've had enough United miles for 2 tickets within the continental US. Could I lose those? No, I don't think you could lose those. If you still have points, I don't think that they're going to take those away from you. I mean, they could. If some frequent flyer programs will close your account if there's been a long period of inactivity, but those United miles should not expire. But if you sit on them for too long and you don't use your United Airlines account at all, they could close it and you would lose all those miles. So I would probably use those. It's earn and burn. That's my philosophy. Lawrence says no to my question. Are points worth it? United still 76,958 earned miles, and they're now expired due to alleged inactivity. Alleged, in quotes. My OnePass miles never expire and required no annual activity. I've received no notice of a change in policy. No, not worth keeping miles, going with less and less with redeemed even seat available. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone knows what my position is on loyalty programs. The loyalty goes only one way. It's very unfortunate. And unless you're one of those mileage hackers, you're not going to really get everything that you think you're going to get from your frequent flyer, frequent stare program. And one great example is the story that I am about to tell you. But before I do that, let's see if we have one. I think I have a couple more. Oh, yes. Christine wants to say, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Christine, just use the miles. It's going to be okay. I mean, but don't sit on them for too long. I mean, I think that Lawrence's story is a cautionary tale. You don't want to, and also there are people out there who like stealing miles. I get maybe one case a week, from sometimes more, from people who have lost their miles because maybe they gave someone their login to use, and it somehow got exposed and they lost their miles. A lot of travel companies have a statute of limitations. It's an internal policy where if you don't report the miles or the points as stolen, then within, I think it's 90 days, then even if you discover later that it's been stolen, they're not going to do anything. And I've run up against that with one company recently. Really? Yes, Christine. Really. I love it. Oh boy. Okay. Let us talk now about Taylor Swift and by the way, we're still doing this live. So if you're watching me right now and it says live on your screen, it means I'm here right now and I'm talking to you. So leave a comment on any of the platforms that you're on, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm happy to answer your question or to take your feedback, because we have people who want to talk about the value of points and miles, or shall I say the lack of value of points and miles. Which brings me to today's story on my site, on the Elliott Report, and that is Taylor Swift. So we had a situation, if you tuned into the live stream about a week ago, you would have seen the situation, or the case that was just developing with Brianne. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Brianne. If you're watching, sorry if I mangled your name. Brianne Dosh, or maybe it's Dosh. Anyhow, she had tickets to go to this weekend's Taylor Swift concert in Philadelphia. Taylor Swift, of course, is incredibly popular. If you go to one of the ticket sites right now and try to get even a reasonably good ticket, you can still get them, but they're $17,000. So she really planned this thing ahead, and she used her points with Radisson to book a room at the Radisson Hotel Philadelphia. Well, about 2 weeks before the concert, she gets an email from the Radisson Hotel Philadelphia that says, "We're canceling your room. We're very sorry. Goodbye." Basically, we're not going to do anything for you. Can any hotel really do that? Can they cancel your room and tell you you're out of luck? Well, I wanted to do a little research and figure out if that was possible, because it just sounded extremely unethical. And it turns out that it is possible. They can do it. And the reason why is that points reservations are not considered guaranteed reservations. A guaranteed reservation is a reservation that's prepaid. So the hotel already has your money. But this is not thought of in the same way. In fact, what happens is that your points are deducted as soon as you make the reservation, but they don't go to the hotel. They go to the loyalty program, and the loyalty program then will pay the hotel in cash based on a fairly complex formula that takes into consideration the hotel's occupancy and average room rate and demand over the weekend, that kind of thing. And so then it pays after you stay at the hotel gets paid. So technically the hotel had not been paid, the Radisson had not been paid in points, and it considered that to be, it's legally considered a different type of reservation than one that where money has been exchanged. And so technically, Radisson is allowed to do what it did. Now, I would say to that, technically, schmecknically, that's not the way you do good customer service, especially on a weekend when Taylor Swift is in town, because Brianne couldn't just go to another hotel. All the hotels were sold out, and it was a really awful situation for her, because she wasn't sure how she was going to get to the stadium. She wanted to stay close by, and now it looked like she was going to have to stay far away and maybe get an Uber in and deal with traffic, and she just didn't want to do that. So over the weekend, just before the weekend, on Friday, like late Friday, I contacted the hotel on her behalf, and I asked if it was sure that it wanted to do this, and then it reached out to her late in the day and said, "No, well, what we could do for you is we don't have any room at the hotel, but we can pay for 50% if you stay at another hotel." Well, that was still much more, Brianne said to me, than she was willing to spend. So over the weekend, I wrote up the story and published the article on Elliott Advocacy. And actually, I'm going to let's see if I can show you the story because it's actually a kind of a cool. We had so much fun with the art on this story. I just have to point this out to you. Uh, we work with a team of artists here, and they kind of went crazy with the with Taylor Swift dancing around a hotel room. And anyway, so I went through all of the legalities of this in the story. You can read that today on Elliott.org. And then we had to have Taylor Swift here holding her concert ticket. I don't know why Taylor would have a ticket to her own concert if she's performing, but what do you, whatever. And then, not happy with her hotel room. That's anyhow, we did a quick poll too. I will go down to that to ask if, Radisson's offer was sufficient. And we had a pretty overwhelming response. Is Radisson's offer acceptable? 89% said no, it was not, and 11%, presumably the 11% work for Radisson or read a frequent flyer blog or frequent points blog, and so only 11% said yes. So interestingly enough, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here and get to the end. Late after the story was published, I've got an email from Brianne saying that the hotel had gotten back to her with a better offer. And essentially, they had said they're going to reinstate her her reservation. And then she looked in her account, and there it was. So she's now going to stay next weekend at the Radisson Hotel in Philadelphia, and it's not going to cost her anything extra. So she is very happy about that, and I am too. And I think a lot of readers are also really relieved that she finally got what she had actually hoped to get. But this does call into question the value of loyalty programs. I mean, look, if you are going, if you're going to, let's see if I'm back here. Yeah. If you are going to offer a loyalty program like this and get people like Brianne to, give you their business on a consistent basis, then there is an expectation that when you want to redeem points for a hotel room, that the hotel will actually be there and will take your points. And I really think that people are upset most about the fact that Radisson just decided to cancel this thing and tell her that she was out of luck. That is not what a loyalty program is supposed to be. A loyalty program is you, the hotel guest, gives the hotel your loyalty, and then the hotel is loyal back to you. And that is definitely not what happened in this situation. Question from Jennifer in Houston. Hey, Jennifer in Houston, how are you? I commented that Radisson should pay for the entire hotel room since Brianne made a good faith reservation, even with points, and had every right to expect a room without having to pay for it out of pocket. I think that would have been a really nice gesture. First, thanks a lot for the comment, Jennifer. I think that would have been a really nice gesture. But at this point, the hotel probably already lost a lot of revenue on this room because it had to turn down a customer willing to pay much more for that room. So I think that this is really an apology, which she definitely received, and having the room reinstated is probably all that she can hope for. The 50% thing was, I told her myself, I didn't think that was going to be enough because she still would have had to spend so much more on a competing hotel in Philadelphia. The hotel rooms, she was pricing the hotel rooms, they were going for thousands of dollars over that weekend because it was a very busy weekend. Jancy says she planned around those points. Yes, she did. And they thought they were going to jilt out of the room. I was a corporate concierge, and I know what they thought they were going to do. So they basically thought that they were going to resell the room, right? I mean, that's kind of my thinking is if you're canceling these rooms like this, then you probably have someone who's willing to pay cash instead of paying with points, which for the hotel that's not a lot of money that they're going to be getting. They could be doing much better. But still, how much are loyalty programs worth? We got some emails before as well on this issue. One from Dave, who said, we spent New Year's Eve at the Marriott in Sydney in Australia, and they had a great view of the fireworks. The hotel cranked up the rates and required a 3-night stay, mandatory. They would not allow points. They wouldn't allow us to use our Bonvoy points. This is another form of discrimination against really loyal customers. If you are a Bonvoy member and you've saved up all your points and then you can't use them when you need them the most. I understand the business's perspective. I don't have to explain the business's perspective. It's supply and demand. But from a customer's perspective, the way that we see it as consumers is that we have given a company our loyalty, and this is how they reciprocate it. They reciprocate it by saying, we're going to do a blackout date, you can't use the points, and you have a minimum 3-night stay, and we're going to jack the rate up. This is really not the way that you want to be running a loyalty program. A loyalty program is you, the consumer, is loyal to the company, and the company is loyal back to you. And if you can't get that right, then obviously you're in the travel industry, because a lot of people here can't get it right. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous and absurd. And I, for one, am very upset. I'm glad we got Brianne her money back, or her points back, and got her a room stay, I should say. But I'm not very pleased with the way that Radisson handled this. Well, here we go. This is Tim. Hey, Tim, how are you? The most egregious part of hotel loyalty programs is the increased number of points now requires to get a room. Preach it, my friend, preach it. Yes, that is absolutely right. And look, this is called moving the goalpost in loyalty land. And if you start collecting points believing that you're going to get a room at a certain level, and then the hotel decides it's going to change that level, that is an unfair and deceptive business practice, and that should not be allowed. Now, this brings up the issue of regulation. I personally believe that these loyalty programs need some kind of regulation, because right now it's like an unregulated lottery, essentially. Companies are basically doing whatever they want to because they can. But this moving of the goalposts is easily one of the most frustrating things, because people plan ahead, and then the company will do things like change to a dynamic system where the levels are not even published for redemption, and you have to go and look it up, and then the algorithm kind of just makes it up. Just so incredibly stupid. We deserve better. You deserve better. Jennifer again says, points aren't worth much if they're so restricted, and the hotel can cancel your business without giving anything to a loyal customer in exchange. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've been a mileage and points skeptic for a very long time, and I've gotten a lot of criticism for it. If the travel companies did what they promised to do and implied that they would do in their loyalty programs, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But as it stands now, there's a lot of shenanigans going on in these loyalty programs. Case in point, Brianne's weekend adventure that she just is about to have right now to see Taylor Swift, where they canceled her room, and now she's got no place to stay. Although now she does have a place to stay because our team got involved. But I wonder to myself, how many other people are out there who have collected points and miles and given the company all their loyalty, and then when the time came, the company bowed out and said, sorry, we can't accept your miles, we have a blackout date, or they canceled the room reservation because it was a busy weekend. How many other people are out there like that? And how much longer should we put up with that? I mean, that's really the question is, are you guys who are collecting points, I would love to hear from you, because I don't know what keeps you going. I don't know, when they start moving the goalposts like that and they start canceling your rooms, what makes what keeps you loyal? I think certainly there's a psychology of loyalty, of brand loyalty, where if you are used to staying at a Marriott, you don't want to stop, even though the loyalty program is no good for you anymore. But it's like I've always said, loyalty programs are for frequent travelers. They're not for people who just want to collect pudding boxes like that guy who from years ago who was just collecting pudding boxes. These actually are for loyal and frequent travelers, and they're designed for those people. If you are not a loyal and frequent traveler and you're doing this as a hobby, be warned, because you might find yourself in a situation where it's just not working out for you, that it's not good for you, or you have to try some elaborate hack to get what you thought you were going to get from the program. In a perfect world, these loyalty programs would be great. They would reward the customers who were supposed to be rewarded, the people who gave the company their business. Now, they're little more than a way of manipulating customers into spending more money with one company, and then in the end, giving them the bare minimum. And that's absolutely wrong. So I am happy to get all of your comments on this. I think we've had a really amazing discussion. This DOT thing, we will see what happens with that. I think that we have a long and hard road ahead of us before we have a EU 261 type rule in the United States. But if it happens, I think that would be really great. I mean, European airlines are operating, they're profitable. So anyone who says that this is going to be an undue burden on companies just needs to go to Europe and see what's going on over there. Those airlines are operating absolutely fine. So it's not going to really affect that. But we'll just have to see what happens. I predict there's going to be an extreme amount of opposition from the airline industry because they do not want to see any more regulation unless it benefits them. The kind of regulation maybe that gives them billions of dollars in federal aid, well, they want more of that. I'm so glad that you tuned in to my live stream. We'll do it again tomorrow. I will try to also have an update on Vantage. I'm sorry I didn't have anything for you today. I'm trying every single day to get something. In the meantime, earn and burn those miles and have a safe travel or have a safe trip wherever you're going. I'll see you soon.